All right. Sorry, it took us a day to talk about the game. We had church obligations. So, couple things here. It was a fun game to watch, wasn't it? Sometimes you just need an old fashioned barn burner. Just two teams going up and down the field where it just feels like whoever has the ball last is going to win. And that's exactly what we got with the Lions Chargers game yesterday. And as soon as it happened, there's some early odds that have come out today that I think are even more good news for the Detroit Lions. The other host on this show, Chris, is famous for talking about this. And here's what he likes to say: Vegas doesn't mess around. Me, your guy, I almost never look at betting lines. I never look at odds. I don't honestly care about that stuff. I love the game of football. But he sees it and realizes that Vegas, way more often than not, knows exactly what it's talking about. So, why is this good news for the Detroit Lions? As you can see, they open right here as 9.5 point favorites. Depending on where you look, that line's already moved to 10 or 10.5, which puts us, I believe, as like the fourth highest odds to win. The only other teams are homers. You got the Dolphins against the Raiders, right? They're favored by 10. The Commanders against the Giants. That's more saying what the Giants are that aren't than what the Commanders are. And then you have the Cowboys as 11 point favorites at Carolina, and San Francisco as 10.5 point favorites playing against the Bucks. Every other game is honestly pretty darn close. So you look at that and you ask yourself the question, okay, great. So there's a big odds line. What does it matter? I don't know what special sauce, what secret formula Vegas has for understanding odds and things like that. But here's what I do understand. They're very good at it. And I think we're starting to, as technology advances, as people find other ways to make money around sports, things like PFF and other things like that, we get to see kind of a peek behind the curtain that I think PFF has been or not PFF, but I think Vegas has been able to use for a long time, to be able to use stats, to be able to use probability in determining who's going to win a football game. And they have algorithms like crazy. So I wanted to jump into that, and we're going to talk about some of the things that I think make the Lions such huge favorites next week over the Chicago Bears. And then I'm going to talk about a couple things that I think could blow all that right up, because I think, yes, we are a much better team than the Bears. But I also think the Bears have one or two things that could absolutely decimate us. So we're going to talk about that, and you're going to want to hang in here, but this is good news. So first, let's start by looking at PFF. After last week, the Detroit Lions are now 7-2. We know this. They are seventh in scoring offense. And as far as points scored goes, that's not including, some of the teams ahead of them probably didn't have a bye week. And they are the number one rated offense in football as far as efficiency goes, as far as grading goes. All right. They are the number 17 defense, which is good for fifth overall. It is a solid team. It is a team that plays well and does their assignments. They're graded out well. Chicago Bears, on the other hand, not so much. They have the 16th scoring offense. They are 3-7. They have yet to have a bye week. Their offense is rated 23rd, and their defense is atrocious at 29th. It is not a good defense. They've allowed the 29th most points as well. So in that regard, their defense is, far as points allowed and rating, is the exact same. I think their offense grades out a little bit worse than how many points are scored, because when you have a guy like Justin Fields, there's some times that he can make plays. Guys like DJ Moore, they do have some good playmakers that are on the field, which allow them to do that. But here's what we're looking at, and Vegas. Here's what they're seeing. The Detroit Lions have 7 victories on the season. They have 7 victories on the season, and in those 7 victories, they would have covered a 10-point spread on 5 of the 7 victories. The only time they would not have covered would have been against the Chiefs and just now against the Chargers. So when they are playing at home, they lost to the Seahawks, and then they beat the Falcons by 14. They beat the Panthers by 18, and they beat the Raiders by 12. So other than the one loss to the Seahawks, all their home games have been dominant wins. Their road games, still, it's a 50-50 shot at getting a dominant win. All right. It still is. They got destroyed by the Ravens, and they played close games against the Chargers and the Chiefs, but they went on the road and laid wood to the Packers. They beat the Bucs, no problem. So 2 out of 3, even on the road. But this is a home game for the Detroit Lions. They get the home cooking. They're still very healthy coming off the bye week. I didn't see any crazy injuries when watching the game or anything like that. Who knows? Stuff can pop up throughout the week. We understand that. This is the NFL. All right. But we know things can pop up. So we'll see what happens there. But that is how you get to a 9.5 to a 10.5 spread so early in the week. Now, what could change this? All right. We played 2 games, obviously, last year against the Bears, and we've been beating the Bears for a while. But last year, the 2 games showed very different things. In one game, Justin Fields ran all over the place. He ran all over the place, and we beat them because we scored a lot of points. In the other game, we just completely shut him down. I mean, completely shut him down. So the question is, what defense are you going to get? We all know the difficulty that this defense has against mobile quarterbacks. It has been a struggle. And quite frankly, they struggle against mobile quarterbacks. They also struggle when there's a position player on the other team that is just flat out fantastic. So when we look, and I mean at the wide receiver position, let's go back over our schedule. The Chiefs did not have Kelsey. So yeah, they struggled on offense. The Seahawks, all right, in that game against the Seahawks, if I'm not remembering incorrectly, I think both Metcalf and Lockett did really well against us. And now that I'm looking it up, Lockett had 8 catches. All right, only 59 yards, but 8 catches. Metcalf did well. They were all over the place on us. So there was some skill there. Now, when you look at other teams, the Falcons, we held them no problem. No major weapons in the wide receiving core. The Green Bay Packers, no major weapons in the wide receiving core. The Carolina Panthers, by the way, that offense actually played pretty well against us, but no major weapons in the wide receiving core. The Bucs, yeah, there's good weapons in the wide receiving core, but they have Baker Mayfield throwing to them. Ravens smoked us. Raiders, and they do have weapons, okay, but that main weapon is a man named Lamar Jackson. And then the Raiders, yeah, good outside receiver. Chargers, Keenan Allen destroyed us. So here's what we are seeing. If I'm the Chicago Bears, I hope they're not watching this. Why would they? All right. I'm saying Justin Fields, we're going to let you run. All right. And DJ Moore, we're going to run you across the middle over and over and try and get you matched up because apparently we refused to cover the slot receiver with Brian Branch because we didn't do it with Keenan Allen enough. We didn't do it enough. So anyways, there's a couple of things I think we should be a big favorite, but I think if the defense doesn't play better, they can keep this game tight. And because if you have a sieve for a defense, you can just get in trouble. So good news, but beware. We'll talk more about the defense in other videos. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. We're on Twitter now. Go for it. X, whatever you want to call it. See you.